Monday to you. It is September 2nd, 2024. It is Labor Day. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana on the Lake Gate from the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on Roku, we are on Facebook, and we are on YouTube. Tonight's going to be a really cool show. We have a lot to talk about and a lot of questions that are going to be answered because it is open mic night. And so I'm going to go right ahead and swing it over to Preston.
Thank you, Dolly. Thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us on episode 71 of The Light Gate. 71, that's not bad. I'm not sure we can call ourselves elderly yet at 71. I think in podcast years, that's still pretty young. But I don't know. I'm not sure what the average lifespan is of a podcast, but I feel like we're doing pretty good. So yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Safran. And our guest tonight is you guys. It's a Q&A night, open mic night. So get those questions in. And I know we always get a bunch of questions from you guys, so I'm not too worried. But get them in early if you want them answered, because towards the end there, it always does get a little bit rushed. But before we get started, happy holidays, happy Labor Day for all of us who labor to just live here on this planet and pay the bills and keep a roof over our head. So this holiday is for you guys. I hope you're having a good one. And let's see, who do we have in here tonight? Because it looks like we got a nice crowd. I love you all, so thank you all for joining us. Pete, it looks like you got in here first and you have your questions lined up. So thank you, Pete. I can't wait to get to them. Real Badger, hello.
Hey.
Thank you. Can always count on you. And here's Hector Gonzalez, all the way from Queens, New York City, where I've been, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, who else do we have here? Sunny Burnett, looking forward to tonight's show. Yay. We don't do a whole lot of Q&As, but this opening came up, and I figured, you know what? It's been a couple of months. Let's do it. So this should be fun. Hi, Ruth Kleiber. Love, it's open mic night. Cool, me too. Okay, who else do we have here? Linda Catlett. Dolly and Preston are getting ready for the show. Yes, we are. Hi, everyone from crazy California.
Hello.
The wildfires have died down and you're not too earthquakey or smoggy or expensive. Though I do love California. It's really kind of my hometown. I miss it. Who else do we have going on here? Karen Holton TV. Hello, Karen. Hope you're doing well. Quantum Guides, check out her podcast. It's awesome.
Yes.
Hey, Louise, greetings from New Jersey. Earthlings and others. I'm sure there are a few others besides Earthlings. Michael Kennedy, greetings, friends. Always bringing the popcorn. Michael, we love you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Kylie, we love her.
The Owlman 77. Good evening, everyone. And Woo Riders, Team Woo is here. Thank you for joining us. The Galactic Consortium. Okay, I'll allow that, but not the Galactic Federation.
Okay.
That gets Dolly mad. CT Guitar Guy, thank you for joining us. Excited to be here. Yes, we are excited to be here too. João Sanchez, greetings from Portugal. Wow, I love that, Portugal. I so want to visit Europe one of these days. Oh, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, we should.
Spain, France, England, Germany. Man, oh man, one of these days. Fun Talks TV, my favorite kind of episode. Hello from Polska.
Dzień dobry, jak się masz?
Yes, what she said. Okay. Happy. And John P. Adventures hugs this. Louise, thank you so much. You guys, these super chat donations are really wonderfully generous. Thank you so much. They mean a lot. They help us a lot. We got a new microphone for Dolly, so we're hoping the sound is good.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see. Let us know. Okay, Linda Catlett says hello. Guardian, and we got Susan Lawrence and Scuba Maru and Jay Hardesty. Wow, love the shirt, Preston.
Hello, Dennis.
I like the purples and blues.
Yeah, it's just my favorite color on him. Period.
Janice. Fragtal says greetings from Montreal. Nice. Bonjour. Don't know if you speak
Bonjour.
but
Yeah.
I think so. Fun Talks
Yes.
TV. Olivia, blessings. Blessings to you for sure. Terrence Wills. Preston and Dolly, my two favorite people. So awesome seeing you on Vetted. Yeah, that was cool. I had a good time with Patrick. He's a nice guy. It was a pretty interesting show. We talked about the UFO crash at Paradise Valley, the Kingman crash.
Yep.
Okay, this looks like a question, so I'm going to star that from EDK. T-Bone, hello. Joe Smith. Okay, I'm going to get going here shortly, Dolly. Oh, Golden Boy, hello from Ukraine. Hope
Oh
you're
my
doing
goodness.
well.
Hello.
I know it's been a tough few years there, so I hope you're doing well. I have some friends from Ukraine, so very cool. West Decker, howdy everybody. Great to see you, Dolly and Preston. So awesome. It's great to see you here too. And Linda says, I enjoy Q&As. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Janie Mashburn, open mic night. I love it. Awesome. Okay, more questions. Apex and Yellow Boy. You guys are really delivering on the questions, so thank you so much. What else do we got here? Oh, these are more questions. All right, I better get started because you guys are piling these questions on. Fun Talk CV. You guys are invited to crash at my place if you ever come to Poland.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. One of these days, I really want to get to Europe. I really do. My parents had a vacation there and they absolutely loved it. So who knows? Greetings from Barbados. Wow, we are reaching far and wide. Moonfire's here. Hi. Susan Alloway. Love you so much.
Hello, Susan.
And Alan Roser. Good morning from the UK. Yes, it is morning there.
Hello.
Seriously about to get in trouble now if I don't start. So I'm going to bring on our guest, which is you guys. Wait, howdy from Northwest Montana. Brilliant designs. And love from Chicago from Charlie Hilbrandt.
Hello.
Okay, now it's time to get going. And let me tell you a little bit about us for those of you who have not heard of us or joining the show for the first time. Since we are the hosts and we're kind of the guests tonight, I thought that would be appropriate. As you may know, I started investigating UFOs in 1986 when I found out my family, friends, and coworkers were having encounters, a good 20-30% of them, and became a MUFON field investigator 1 year later. Started interviewing people formally, started seeing UFOs myself. That ramped up to direct telepathic contact and eventually even more than that. I wrote articles for about 10 years before I put out my first book in 1996, UFO Healings, and I've been writing about one book per year on the average, and I'm now at 32 books. Last books are, let's see, Not From Here, Volume 5, Humanoids and High Strangeness, and Symmetry, and we're working on Symmetry too. Okay, Dolly, introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Dolly Safran. I'm a lifetime contactee. I'm fully conscious. I've done many things, include flying craft. I've been around a while, and I came out about 2.5 years ago now, almost 3, coming up on, and now I'm here. So,
all right, I guess that's it, huh?
yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's get started with our questions. But before we actually bring on the questions from you guys, I do have a question for Dolly, because I know you've talked quite a bit about this. I hear you talking to people on the phone when they call you up and are looking for some answers. And I'll just introduce it this way. Once when I had an out-of-body experience, I said, okay, I want to raise my vibration. And I said it several times, raise my vibration, raise my vibration, raise my vibration. And it was very funny because nothing happened except I rose a little bit up in the air. I'm like, well, this is not working. So I know people are using this word all over the place. Raise my vibration, raise my frequency. Do you think this is the right term, or how should we be putting this? How should we be thinking about frequency and vibration?
Okay. I'm going to make it as easy to understand as I can. A frequency, and everybody has one because your thoughts are on a frequency. You're a entity, and your thumbprint frequency is who you are. And when you think, you create a frequency because you're transmitting light. And everybody has their own exacting frequency. That's how ET actually can identify you and separate you from others, because they know us by our frequencies, how we think. It's the sound we make when we think. It is a light frequency. We know that on Earth we have frequencies of sound. All frequencies are the result of something that generates a sound. If you clap your hands, you're creating a frequency. If you talk with your voice, you're creating a verbal frequency. And we know that people who sing can sing in different frequencies. Some can sing in multiple frequencies. We know that to hear a frequency outside of ourselves or outside of the area we're sitting in, we go to a band listening. Sometimes they use microwave frequencies, sometimes they use radio frequencies, but they're all able to single out a band from either AM or FM or Swiss Air or digital, or which would be microwave, and they create a bar and then they tune to it. So you run up a band of frequencies until you hit the right one you want to hear. And then it's usually pretty low, so you have to turn the sound up on that frequency. So what you can do is increase the sound of a frequency, but that's all that is. Anything in the universe that makes a sound, including ETs, even our planets make sounds because the planet is generating and doing all kinds of things, grinding. They have magnetic cores, they have magnetospheres, the sun's hitting them with a frequency as well. Everything is bouncing off of everything else, and it's all light and it's all frequencies. Our minds, our higher abilities, our consciousness emits a frequency when we think. You cannot turn the sound up on that and raise your abilities. That isn't how that works. You come here to the third dimension to learn. And a better way to understand how that works is that your frequency can sound louder or be more clear if you're speaking or with understanding. The more you understand, or the more that you know, the clearer your frequency becomes. Not changed at all, because you are who you are. Your frequency is what it is. It is a concept that humans haven't really put together, because a lot of people have misjudged or misunderstood what was taught to them from before. As we go down through time, information gets jumbled and lost.
So your main beef is that frequency is just being used incorrectly.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to ascend in knowledge or wisdom, that's what you're looking to do. You want to make your frequency, who you are, how you think, stronger, and you want to indemnify it. In other words, you want to amplify it in that with knowledge. And knowledge is something that we're here to do. We're here to do that here, to learn.
Right. So you're not raising frequency, you're raising your consciousness.
Yes.
You're raising your level of knowledge.
Your level of knowledge, your wisdom. That's the only way to ascend in knowledge, is you ascend in knowledge. That ruler, that yardstick, is that you are making an ascension into knowledge. Can you be taught everything all at once by somebody else or given knowledge? No, you're not here for that. You're here to learn for yourself. That's why it's so hard here. And it's important that people understand that it isn't something you're given. You wouldn't appreciate it. You wouldn't be able to employ it, and you wouldn't understand it. You have to learn it for yourself. And that's what makes this a difficult situation here in the third dimension where we live now. Okay, so that's the first one. What's the second question you're going to ask me? I hope y'all get it. If you don't, ask the questions. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's an important point because these words are being thrown around, and
Right.
you know, people are in essence misusing them. I get what people mean. They're talking about
Right,
raising ultimately your consciousness, your
right.
ethics, your morals, your knowledge, what you
Yeah,
ever can do to. Because
right. We're in a
raising
school.
frequency is not going to push you into another dimension
No,
or anything like
no,
that.
not at all.
It's a,
We're in
it's a
school
different.
here. A lot of people forget that. We've been turned away from the idea of being in school by the school systems that we have. Learning should be a joy to you. Learning should be something that you quest for every day of your life, and don't stop questing for it. It should be more important to you than anything else you're living in this lifetime. Love is important, but there's a lot to learn about love too. I mean, everything has a lesson in it, and we all need to be conscious of that, cognizant of it, and learn from it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. The other question, because I hear a lot of people asking me this, and honestly, there's not a whole lot of really good, solid information on this. I've gotten some from various contactees, but I know you know a lot about this because people ask me all the time, how are these craft powered? What exactly is the energy source? How do they navigate on our planet? How do they cross interstellar distances? How do they do this? What's the energy?
Well, the craft itself is bioengineered so that a dimensional being can indwell the craft like we indwell our bodies and come here from the fifth dimension into our dimension. They couldn't just come disembodied like they are. They have to come in with a body, and that's their way of getting here. The craft is alive because of that. It has its own electrical component to it, like we have our own electrical component. And electricity is the basis for everything in the universe anyway. Nothing that is living doesn't live without some form of electricity in it. Everything emits electricity, light. Okay. So they also employ high amounts of this electricity. And, you know, Tesla was really gifted in that he understood a lot of the components that are the basis of how they run their craft. And they do have a type of Tesla coil in them. They have a stack, it's a central core to them. And they have a generated amount of electricity that is so high, it turns into a graviton wave. Everybody thinks that gravity is mass. It is not. It is generated by electricity. Mass happens here because you're in the third dimension. And you think the more mass, the more gravity. That's not true. Our Earth is pretty massive, and at the central core of our Earth is a massive amount of electricity being generated in it. It's not the mass itself, it's what's at the core. It's electromagnetic, it's working just like your heart works, and it generates huge amounts of electricity that help keep you on the surface of this planet. That's how gravity and electricity work together. And the core of it all is always electricity. They do run with batteries. They have the smaller craft have 3 core batteries in them, and then others have different configurations of them. And they use that type of energy stored on craft when they're inside a magnetosphere. Outside the magnetosphere, there's no electricity for them to hook up to. Okay, you don't just walk up to a sun and say, "I want your electricity." That's not how it works. They use a nuclear power at that point, because to produce that graviton wave requires an unbelievable exponential amount of electricity generated and focused. And so they burn an element, it's 115, it burns itself completely into 116, and they eject that piece of element for a new one when they need it. And they have emitters at the top and around the sides of the core, where most of the electrical currents are going that turn into graviton waves. They have what they call emitters. And that wave is put through to each emitter. There's usually 3 in the front and 3 and then 2 in the back for the smaller craft. And then it exponentially have more after that. This graviton wave coming through the emitters creates a bubble. And the craft are surrounded by a huge bubble of graviton wave energy.
This is what Bob Lazar said, basically.
Yeah. Now there's 2 of them. They have the front emitters have the second core that they emit. One's for the inner core, the craft itself, to protect it, and then there's an outer core, and that's what they use to navigate through space when they create a light gate. You can't. There's not enough electricity on this planet that they can generate to create or open a light gate, but ETs can. And the graviton wave is used psychically. They run the ship psychically. There are no bells and whistles on it. It's not something you can just have the reflexes physically to do. It's all in your mind. Our mind works faster than a computer, and it is able to reflexively do everything it needs to do without touching anything or moving anything. You're wasting your time if you do that. They use their psychic abilities. Light technology is advanced for them. When you use your psychic ability, you're using the light technology that your body can generate. You become psychic, and you can see, feel, hear, taste, smell everything outside of your own body, and you can transmit signals and receive signals. And this is basically where we connect with the ship, that pilots do, and we come together and we run the craft together, because there's a lot going on at the same time. There's a lot going in the universe to have to take 5 seconds to hit a button or react to it emotionally or whatever. We don't do that. It's all psychic. It's light to light transmissions.
So this just shows to me how much we have to learn, and how much we can learn from encounters, like yours, from the ETs, who have clearly a very advanced understanding. And I think if you look into the whole history of what we know about gravity, and I learned some of this in my book, Human Levitation. I'm like, it's connected to electricity. I don't care what anybody says, but it clearly is.
Yeah, well, they're finally admitting that now. Science is actually coming out with rearranging their theories a little bit to understand it a little bit better. And it's becoming known knowledge that gravity is the result of electrical current or electricity magnified and enhanced. And every planet in the universe has a magnetic core. All of them. The only one in our system that doesn't, and because it's a dead core planet, would be Mars. And it had a calamity, something so bad that it snuffed it out. And it's outgassing. It's a dead planet.
What's fascinating to me, though, is how the ETs use psychic abilities so much in regards to their technology, which we really don't do here. I mean, we're starting to, very minimally, but that's an area where
humanity is starting to understand psychic ability, but they're trying to enhance it with mechanical things, like chipping your brain, things like that. They find people who have the propensity for it already, and then they enhance them, and they're trying to control it that way. Humanity likes to control everything, and they don't see humanity becoming psychic all at the same time. If we did, it would be great, because they wouldn't have an up on us at all. They wouldn't be able to control us anymore. And before we do that, they want to control us by chipping your brain. I would suggest not to do that. That's not good. They can mess with you. You don't give anybody the autonomy to shock you, turn you off, direct you in a way you don't want to go. Don't do it. So, okay, go ahead.
All right. Well, I think we should get started, because we have like 36 questions, and they're coming fast. What do you think?
Yep.
Okay. It looks like Peak got the first questions in, so we'll start with you, Peak. And this is an interesting question. Do other beings like Greys have their own equivalent to heavenly and Mal realms? I'm assuming the hellish realms, but that's funny to me, because I've explored some of these realms. It's very much like a Mal, so maybe that's intentional, Peak. I don't know. But seriously, I've been out of body in these lower realms, and people are wandering around these mall-like structures. So do other beings like Greys have their own equivalent to heavenly and hell/Mal realms? If so, can you visit them to see what their ideal heavenly life looks like?
Every being in this universe comes from the same place. And all of us, regardless of where we're from, are all in the same spaces, to 12 dimensions together. And if you're in the third dimension together, you're all, when they pass, we can see them. They can see us after we've passed. We see them in source. We're all the same thing. You don't have to always be born here. You can be born clean across the universe as well, and go to this school over there. We're all the same. So yeah, it's all the same. We know one another.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ETs have a very advanced understanding of the heavenly realms, what we would call the heavenly realms, can go there and have actually, during an onboard encounter, people have met deceased relatives. It's not super common, but it does happen. But this just goes to point towards their understanding of all of this.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that we all go to the same place, and depending on our level of ability and understanding and knowledge is how well we're able to navigate these places and understand what we're seeing. But yeah, as far as I know, there are very low realms, and I think the ETs can probably go there as well. Can't say I have any first-hand cases of it, but I would suspect they can navigate pretty much everywhere they want. Okay, that was a good question, Peak. Thank you. And moving on to your next question. Looks like you get the first 5. Very cool. All right, here is the next question from Peak. The question is, what is the standard procedure for progenating a new group of intelligent beings with free will on a planet? So I guess she's saying, if we're lifted off from a planet or placed here, how do they do it? What's the procedures that go forth?
If we were to be rescued from this earth during a huge calamity, you would be going to a place where you can all decide where you want to go. And you would get there very fast. It would only take a few minutes to get everybody out and get everybody to a central place where they start ferreting out what you want and where you want to go. Once you make up that decision, because we are all autonomous beings and you have a right to what you want to do. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You are given opportunities, okay? And you decide for yourself. Wherever it is that you're going to go, you are briefed or taught about what to expect, how it's going to go for you living there, and you will be given what you need to get started with that. It's like homesteading, You're going to go to a new place and you're going to start new. You will understand the concepts, the rules of wherever it is you're at. You'll understand the physics of it, and on and on and on. And however long it takes you to learn those things, so you're competent to go for that, then you go. And it might take you a while. Some people would get it really quickly, some others not so easily, but they do eventually. That's how they do that. Nobody's genes are messed with. We all have the same genes. I say that all the time. We're genetically related to one another. We can interbreed back and forth with one another. We are all humanoid, all of us. So that's how that goes. Okay.
All right. And Peak just popped in. She didn't mean to say Mao, so I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll get more into that in a second because I saw another question about that. But let's go down the questions as we receive them. I don't really know the procedure for progenating a new group onto a planet, so I'm just going to leave Dolly with that one and move to the next question, which is from Peak. And Peak is asking, why do demons, or just extremely negative beings that possess people sometimes, exist? Where do they come from, and what is their purpose?
Man, Preston, you know that just as well as I do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting subject, and that word is thrown around quite a bit. And if you go way back into historical and philosophical times, far, far back, it did not have the meaning at all that it has today. It was more of a muse or a spirit of some kind, but not necessarily negative. And that, of course, changed when religion came onto our planet. And now, according to the classical definition of a demon, in terms of religious thought, it's not a human being that has ever incarnated. It's a non-human spirit. Don't know if that's true or not, but this is the religious definition. More the standard definition is it's an evil entity that's chosen evil and rejected God and source and taken a different pathway. It's a poor choice, in my opinion. It does, they are able to affect the physical environment, even though they are spiritual entities. Because if you look into the work of N. Lorraine Warren and other demonologists, these things do exist. They're horrific hauntings. People have a real hard time with it. It starts out with just what they call infestation and leads up to a severe haunting and then oppression, usually of a single person in that home or area, And then the ultimate goal of a demon is possession, in which they basically take over the mind of a person and try to destroy them. And there are cases where it's led to death. As far as why do they exist, I think it's because people have the free will to make a choice. And if you choose evil, well, there you go.
Yeah. We also, and it's a little bit our fault because we don't teach each other or our children, especially, that they have the ability to fend that stuff off, that they're powerful enough not to be inhabited by have them take over their mind. That's the fault of humanity. You're made such a lamb and defenseless, and you're not, and you're perfectly capable of making that entity take a hike, and we all need to wake up to that. Okay.
Yeah, and I know there are some of you out there probably listening tonight. I'm sure I know there's a couple who feel like these ETs are not ETs at all, are spiritual entities coming from, probably labeled accurately as demonic. I don't subscribe to that. I think there's many reasons why that is not accurate. This is my assessment, but this is, I think, one of the things that we need to look into. We need to consider. There's a lot of conflating of different phenomenon in this field. People are saying Bigfoot, NDEs, spirits, elves and little people, and all this is the same thing. And it's just manifesting in different ways from one intelligence, which at a very high level, I think you could say that that's true. It all does come from source. But is it the same thing? I don't think so. I think demons do exist. I am not sure that they have a specific purpose any more than any other entity in this universe, but they certainly do serve sort of a purpose of giving people an option and giving people a way to recognize, this is the path I want to take or not. So that's how I would answer that question. But yeah, they're real and they're nasty. Okay. Let's move on to the next question, also from Peak. You're lucky you got your questions early. Okay, question. Is an apocalyptic style solar weather event in the near future a certainty, or is it just highly probable?
It is a fact. It is a certainty. It is going to happen. I want you all to profoundly research this for yourselves, but I'm telling you it's a fact. We're at that time. It is going to happen. It could happen from this moment forward. It is imminent. And buckle up. Okay.
All right. Here, let me get back to that. Yeah, I'm going to say that I'm going to agree with Dolly. It is a certainty. Now, near future, that's something that you can interpret in different ways. I think it is coming up. I think the evidence is showing that. This is the message so many contactees are getting. But, we'll see. And there's no doubt sooner or later it's going to happen. So we'll see. It's always a good idea to be prepared.
Yeah, it's coming. Okay.
All right. Doink. Moving along. One more question from Peak, and then we'll get to some of your other questions because Peak got in early. All right, Peak. And thanks for the questions, Peak. Don't feel bad. Keep them coming. All right. Peak is asking, what was it like when our human ancestors were progenited by ET and or put on Earth? How is it similar to or different than cases on other planets? That's a good question.
Well, the people that came here decided to come here, first of all. When I say they are progenitors, it means that we're related to them. They are our forefathers way back. We didn't come to Earth directly from other outside of this solar system. We came from Mars, actually. And Mars was in the catbird seat. It was a viable planet, and we all lived on it. And when it became not viable anymore, and they knew what was about to happen, they got everybody off. They were taken to safety and then brought back to Earth because they saw that Earth was viable, and they brought everybody back here because we were all together already, and everybody decided they wanted to come. The generations that met that emergency are not the generations that hit the deck here. It took a while for that to happen. We're talking about a couple of generations in. And we've been progressing quite well. Hopefully this time, I don't know. And we'll see. But That's how it happens. We all decided we want this, just like when you come here to be, you know,
And that's true with every planet out there.
yes, you decide what you're going to do. You are an autonomous being. I want you to wake up to that. You are absolutely in control of yourself and your destiny, period, the end. Absolutely. You don't need to start acting like it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Here's a great one from Videos from the Underground. How does one avoid having to incarnate again on this planet? If you figure it out, please let me know.
Yeah.
I have my suspicions.
Yeah, this is the pat answer that I get every single time I ask that question. Learn all that is learnable, then proceed. Take that. Yeah. It literally means what it means. It is what it is. Learn all that is learnable and then proceed. Okay.
Yeah, ultimately, I think it is your choice. You are not forced to do anything, but when you're back in the heavenly realms and you're going over your life and you're thinking, well, gosh, you know, what did I learn from this incarnation? What didn't I learn? You realize, well, you know, I could probably use another incarnation. Right. I think ultimately the best thing to do is to overcome what, you know, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm going to say that, you know, the 7 deadly sins: greed, anger, sloth, you know, hate, all of those are absolutely
the tip of the iceberg. That's philosophy. There's other stuff like science, okay? Art, music, engineering, you name it. Learn all that is learnable. There's a lot to learn here, and there are a lot of people who know how to teach it. Learn it.
Yeah, okay. This is why I think we go through different lifetimes, so we know exactly what it's like to be a woman and a man and die young and a leader or a follower or a carpenter, and all the professions, all the food tastes like, all the relationships for brother, sister, father, son, mother, daughter. Right. We go through all of this to learn everything we can. Right. And you're like, okay, I've graduated from the Earth School. So I think the best thing you can do is embrace life and really work hard to improve yourself in every area. So, but yeah, I don't know. I keep coming back, so I'm not, here I am again. We'll hopefully figure it out. Okay, moving along. Shout out to Namaste. Thank you, Namaste. We love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It really means a lot. And Louise, so very, very kind of you. Thank you. Okay, next question is from EDK. And I like this one because this actually came up. I'm not sure where it came up, but is it true that ET do not dogs? Is it true that ET does not like dogs?
No, not at all. They love all animals, especially dogs. Dogs are a thing. We love dogs. They love dogs. Dogs are our helpers and our friends. They are our confidants. They are our protectors. Dogs are good, and ET loves dogs.
Yeah, as far as I know, I agree with that. I think some dogs can be ornery and they have to protect themselves, just like we would.
No, we're the ones that treat dogs to the point that they go nuts. Remember that.
Yeah, I think ETs, and we see this, respect all life. I think this is why they're coming down and taking soil samples, why they're collecting genetics from all different animals and us, so that nothing goes extinct.
Yeah. I will tell you this, though, when they come down, they know when a dog is going to be a problem and they avoid them. But it's not that they don't like them. It's just that they don't want to have to deal with what that dog's going to give them. So that's it. Okay.
Okay. Wow, you guys, these questions are coming in fast. I love this one from Tammy Turcott. Can a person make contact with ETs via just thinking about it?
Yeah, well, you ask the question, you ask for an answer, and be prepared for the answer. Yep.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, because I know of cases where that's happened. Yep. People, you see this quite a bit when you're examining UFO accounts in literature. People will bring up the subject of UFOs, and one comes flying down. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we saw a UFO? What's that?
And also communicate with you psychically. And trust me, when I tell you, every time I say this, ET wants you to learn to use your abilities. Amp your game here. And it's because they want to have a conversation with you. The invitation is wide open. Go for it. So yes.
All right. Very cool. Okay. Questions are coming in. Here's one from Fun Talks TV. Okay. Question to Dolly. As you previously mentioned, the ETs are not here because of the solar flares. And if we see something, it must be my lab. What about the ETs coming here from a different place and not the Greys?
First of all ETs that can make it here know each other. They all work together. They're completely in consensus with one another, or as Whitley puts it, communion. There is no bad ETs at all. If an ET is smart enough to get here, he's going to be way smart enough not to want your resources or want anything you have or want to do you damage. They know they're related to you, and they only have positive, good things to worry about you and try to be a helpful caretaker of your environment. They have been doing this for centuries, all the way back to the beginning of this particular iteration time, last 12,000 years. And so they are not here because our poles are changing. Our magnetosphere is down 40% now. That means that the energy that comes out of the center of the earth, it's, it does this, it has many things, but it's not like this. Right now, it is like this. It's losing its cohesiveness. It doesn't have a regular route for anything to go because the poles are changing. They don't know which, it's all jumbling together. You can't fly that. They can't fly that. They started crashing about 80 years ago, and it got to the point now where they went, nope, we're not doing it anymore. It's not worth it to us. They've lost enough craft because of it, and they're giving no more to that. They are suffering because of it, so they have to stay out of our solar system.
Well, how does the reverse engineered craft fly then? Are they
because they only use electricity. They use 0 point energy. They can fly in our atmosphere and they crash too. Never you doubt that for a minute. If you say, oh, they just had an ET crash, it's not ET, it's them. They're crashing too. Because like I said, magnetism is what it is, and they can't fly those guidelines either. They can't have a cohesive attachment, or you either attract it or you push away from it as you fly. And what are you going to do when suddenly that's not there? It goes whoop, it's gone. Boom, you hit the ground. And there's nothing they can do about it either. But yeah, they're still flying. They're idiots as far as I'm concerned. And
well, I agree with you that the ETs that are visiting our planet are not evil or here to take over or anything like that. I do think that there probably are some out there on other planets who have not reached the level of emotion.
Yeah, well, there's planets like us at the same evolutionary scale we are, and they got problems.
Some do exist.
But they're not coming here. They can't. Right. They don't have technology.
But we know we have evil people here, and to everyone else in the universe, we're ETs. So they do exist. And I will say some people do have absolutely what they perceive to be negative experiences that they don't like. They're very scary. They don't understand what's going on, and this can be perceived as absolutely unpleasant and evil. So I think to some extent, it's a matter of perception. Perception means a lot. But we have to be very careful labeling something.
They can't tell the difference. Yeah. My lab. Okay.
Moving along to the next question, which is from Guardian. People are saying contact in 2027. Do you think it will happen sooner or later? Sounds like it could be about right.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you a synopsis or a scenario. ET are not coming back until the poles change. And they're giving 2030, 2038 as about when that'll start cohesively changing for real. Okay, the poles will change then. What you have to worry about right now has nothing to do with that. It has to do with what the sun is going to do to us before that happens. Because our sun is in solar maximum. Don't believe them when they tell you it's going to minimum now. No, it is not. It's in the middle of maximum. We got a long way to go before we're out of it. And it's already shooting cannons at us. We just had one the other day that was an M5. It was on the incoming limb, which means we will probably have a glancing blow. We have coronal hole streams open right now, which can enhance it and make it even worse. So we got some more of that going on. We had another pop off this morning. I'm not sure what that one is, so I'm not going to say I have to go back and look. When it starts doing that as it is incoming, and we have really big sunspots right now, that means it's high activity. One of those is eventually going to be big enough to down our entire grid. And that's what I say is going to happen. And it is coming. It's not a matter of Whether it's going to happen or not, it will. It's a matter of when, and it could happen tonight all the way through into the next couple of years. When it does, the entire grid on this planet is going to go down. No more electricity for anybody, nothing. All the satellites will fall out of the sky. Nothing will work anymore. Everything will burn. Every wire will melt. Every piece of metal will become molten. You're in a lot of trouble with this. And that's why I came out to push this to you, to make sure that you're aware of it. It's all up to you how you're going to react to it. You could either say, oh, well, and just live until then, or you can prepare for what's coming. You have to survive long enough after that CME takes the grid down. There's going to be a lot of starvation. There's going to be a lot of people fighting you for what you've got, and you've got to survive that. And the governments know this is going to happen. That's why they've built all those underground facilities. That's why they have
even if it were to happen today, and then it's all we're down.
Well, then the government is out of luck.
The whole,
okay?
Right. It can settle down by 2027, and that's when they will come. I think it's very hard to predict an exact date.
The poles won't finish changing literally until probably 2038. That's how long we have to live until then. It's going to be chaotic, crazy, and nuts. The governments don't want you around.
2038. That's the first I've heard that. You said it was sooner, I thought.
No, the poles finish changing.
All
the
right.
CME happening is coming soon. The poles finish changing where they're cohesive. Right. They might try to come back if they can, but they're not coming back 1 minute sooner than it's safe for them to fly. Why would they fly here and crash trying to pick you up? Okay. Yeah. They have to be.
Another thing I would tell you guys who are listening is you don't have to believe this.
True.
But I would urge you to do your own research, figure it out if it's true or not.
Absolutely. Don't do what I say. Just look it up.
Learn.
Yep.
Check out Ben Davidson. He's talking a lot about this. A lot of contactees, and I know some of you guys are contactees, have gotten messages that are somewhat along these lines. Right. So yeah, do your due diligence, research it, consider it.
Right.
And I think you're better off moving away from belief and to direct knowledge to the extent that you can.
Right.
All right. Moving along, and this is absolutely related to this. Terrence Wills is asking, how can we get ready for what is coming? Thank you. Love you guys.
Learn to live without electricity. Move yourself. Well, collect enough food and water for 2 years, minimum 2 years. That gives you long enough to figure out how to survive without them. If you're in a city, go out into a countryside somewhere. The government owns all the land everywhere. Have you wondered why they don't want you on it? They're trying to herd you into cities so that they can deal with you at that point. I want you to understand that it's not just waiting for ET to come back. It's dealing with them. They have an agenda. ET doesn't have an agenda. They do. And you need to work out how you're going to survive that. There's lots of stuff online for you to resource, look it up. Just start typing into Google, what if I this, what if I that, and it'll come back with resources for you to consider and use. There are plenty of people that make food that lasts for 25 years that you can get now, and you can buy enough for 2 or 3 years. You can buy stuff to contain water. You can dig a pool in your backyard, a big one, and start keeping water in it, make a pond, a natural resource. You can learn how to plant things and garden, and you can learn how to hunt. You can learn how to live off-grid, totally live off-grid, no electricity whatsoever. And I would caution you that having metal things is not a good idea. You need to learn how to do it old school, wood, stone, that type of thing. Learn how to make a rocket, an oven rocket. Learn how to use straw and clay and make adobes and things like that. Build log cabins with use dovetails and pegs to mortise them in and use stuff to. It's a big thing. It's something that you just need to buy every book you can on survival and those conditions, and start learning to implement it and learn what is you need and what you don't need. Humanity has so many things and so many gadgets, and you don't realize that most of the stuff that's in your house right now has nothing to do with survival. It will not help you survive in one way or the other. Learn how to can your own foods, learn how to protect your food, learn how to make clothes for yourself, or weave, or have sheep so you can cull them so that you can make your own wool to make your own yarn. Learn how to make a loom. These are things that are so important for you to get, because there is going to be a few years where we're all on our own until they can come back. And it's important. And while all you're learning all that, you still have governments around the world that want you off the face of the earth because they plan to survive it, not you. And we are not sustainable. We are no longer sustainable. 8.4 billion people on this planet are not going to survive everything. Okay,
Yeah,
you're
we've
going to
been
be
moving on an unsustainable path for a pretty long time. And let's
right.
face it, 150 years ago, we were living completely off grid with
Right.
no electricity.
Right. We did
None
just
of the things.
But there weren't 8.4 billion of us. Okay, so think about
No,
that.
but it is absolutely doable. People have
Right.
been living without electricity for far
Right.
longer than they have been living with electricity.
When I say this is the hardest classroom you're going to be in this lifetime, I'm not joking around. It is, and you have a decision to make. You either want to try, you want to do this for yourselves, or you're going to just accept moving on. Take your pick.
Yeah, you know what Dolly's saying is absolutely valuable. I would just add also move past fear.
Right.
Don't worry about dying because we
You're
all
not-
die. Everybody dies. And
Physically, yes.
it's always a good idea to have enough food and water. Boy, in California, when these earthquakes would hit, I'd always just kind of shake my head and wonder when people started lining up in front of the grocery stores because they didn't have a week's worth of food or
Right.
water.
Right.
Well, I always knew that this was a possibility because an earthquake alone can shut you down for a full month.
Right. And
So
with
I
our
always had
supply
that.
chains right now, you have 3 days, only 3 days. That's it. If everything's shut down right now, you'd only have 3 days worth of food and water, period. You have to think
Yeah,
about that.
most people have about a week. So I would suggest you get a little bit more than that. And it's not hard to get some really cheap food. Rice, beans, and pasta are still fairly inexpensive and they store very well for a very
Right.
long time.
Right.
So check it out. Patriots is a company that sells freeze-dried food for a reasonable price.
Right.
So yeah, there are things you can do. You can actually get things that purify water pretty easily.
Yep. You
So
can do it too. There's ways of making your own purifier. Yep.
all right, moving along. We've just got lots of questions and they're coming in faster than we're going to be able to answer them. So here is the next one from Audrey Miller. Many contactees have had a dream about the skies being filled with UFOs. What is the purpose of this dream? Are there other dreams that contactees share?
Yep.
I hear this all the time. This is prep. This is a warning. This is a little bit of information for you that this is an event that could and probably will happen. ETs are again looking out. Right. So you have anything to add to that, Dolly?
Yeah, well, I was trained, and we will, if I make it through this, you know, I'm sitting here in this with y'all. I decided to stay back. I'm not with them right now. I'm here. And so I'm subject to the same things you are. One of the things I plan on doing is make it to the point where I can be picked up. And I will be working with them to pick everybody else on this planet up that is still here. And we will land all over this planet at the same time. It won't be one at a time. It's going to be a massive grouping. They'll land everywhere, roads, you know, parking lots, highways, airports, you name it. And when they open the door and you see somebody like me open the door and say, get in now, that means grab your animal that you love and don't worry about anything else and get on board. Okay, all will be provided for you at this point. Just get the heck on board and so we can get out. And it will be a mass exodus. And there will be a light gate like you've never seen before in your life. Okay, and we will take you to a place of safety and harbor. Okay, and you will learn from that point where you're going and what you decide to do with yourself after that. It will happen.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, next question is quite broad. From Olivia, question, Dolly, do you have any messages from our space brothers and sisters? Thank you.
Yeah, okay, learn to use your abilities. What I'm telling you is not going to sit with you until you either prove to yourself or you have psychic enough ability to hear that I'm telling you the truth and can read from what I say and know that it's true. It will also encourage you to learn faster what you need to know. You learn much faster psychically than you do just looking at a piece of paper and reading it and have somebody talk to you about it. Psychic learning is much, much faster than how you're employing it now. That's important, number one. ET will communicate with you once you learn to do that, and you'll be way more informed than you are now. Turn off listening to those who control you. In other words, there's a lot of control going on, and you need to see that that's actually true, and it's happening to you. You're controlled in the games you play. You're controlled by the TVs that you watch. You're controlled sometimes by the music that you hear. And your phone is a major controller because it can hear you think. It's that connected. 5G, 6G, 7G, all the way up to 12G now is listening to you. The government, the alt governments of the world are listening to every word you say. And if you go against it or don't go into the direction they want you to go, things could happen to you. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let it happen to you. Be autonomous. Get off the train, the slave train. That's their message, period. Learn all that is learnable. Okay?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I hear the same things over and over from contactees that ETs are very interested in people elevating their psychic abilities, warning about how we treat each other, the environment, the destruction of the environment, pollution, war, aggression, greed, corruption, all the things that should be plain common sense. But apparently we're lacking it, or some of us are. I think most of us listening here are exceptions, honestly. But yeah, within certain areas of government, people are just now being reduced to fighting for survival and becoming brainwashed and buying the divisiveness and hatred that's being sold to us. So we have to be very careful.
Right.
And use discernment and really try hard to who we are. That's what ETs are absolutely trying to
get. By the way, I want to reiterate something. ET is not going to take anything but you and your pet. Okay? You have pets, you can take your pets. It's like losing your children. You don't leave pets behind. Okay? Horses won't go, cows won't go, but dogs, cats, and birds, yes. It is important that you understand that you're taking nothing with you other than that. It's an emergency, and they don't have room for that, period. Okay, you're going to be given all that you need once you get to where you're going. You will be restructured and everything and taught. Don't worry about it. You don't need your cell phone. It's not going with you. Okay? Okay. All right. Or
I'm not leaving my cell phone.
Or your truck. None of that stuff. No. Okay.
Okay. John Wilkinson, Rendlesham Forest. What are your thoughts on it? For those of you who don't know, the Rendlesham Forest incident happened in 1981 in Bentwaters, England. It was a series of alleged UFO events over an area where we were storing nuclear materials. This is an American base on English soil. It's a very famous event with now, I think, 20 or 30 books about it with a lot of conflicting opinions. Everything from ETs visiting there, having an emergency accident, to this being a MyLab event. Some researchers have taken various stands on this. I don't know. I've certainly educated myself on it, and I've got 5 or so books on it. I stopped buying them because they started to get really repetitive and conflicting, and it's a very messy incident. I don't know if you have any opinions on Rendlesham, Dolly, but I don't even know at this point what to think of it.
It's contrived. That's all I'm going to say. It's not real. It's
all right.
Engineered stuff. Okay.
It wouldn't honestly surprise me because it's just gotten to be such a mess. Okay, Wiesel. Question is, can we invite telepathic contact?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll put it to you this way. If you wanted to contact me telepathically, you know the sound of my voice, you know how I emote and all of that. You can psychically tune into my frequency because you know me now. You see me on camera and stuff like that. If you wanted to talk to me telepathically, all you have to do is single me out in your mind. And I mean just me, nothing else. So you have to learn to focus and then send me the message. I want to talk to you. If I hear it live and in person, it's happening in that second, I will answer you. That's serious. And if I can do it, imagine what ET can do. They can hear you.
Yeah. Telepathy is a natural human ability. It's been proven in a laboratory setting. Anyone can do it. Most people will have an instance of this many times in their lives.
Yeah.
I reached out to ET once because I was very curious about the Greys. I'm like, who are you really? Where do you come from? What is going on here? Because I was getting so many reports of this. And this was pretty early on in my research. and I got what contactees call a download. I'd never heard the word at that time, but I got a whole bunch of information, and I got my answer. It took some meditating, some really reaching out and, clearing my mind and really exerting my willpower, my intention, my desire, really focusing. But absolutely, telepathy is doable. We are telepathic. This is why you often see, and when an idea's time has come, it starts appearing all over on the earth, or a wave of thought will sweep across the planet all at once, because underlying, we are absolutely telepathically communicating with each other. We're all going out of body every night. We're very telepathic when we're out of body. All those barriers and walls are lifted. So just work towards that. Work towards waking yourself up, and you will absolutely increase your telepathic abilities, and you can reach out to ET 100%. All right. Oh, my goodness. It looks like it's time to take a quick station ID break. So let me just say that you are all watching The Lightgate, episode 71. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Safran. And we're doing a Q&A episode, a rare open mic episode where we're answering all kinds of questions about ETs and demons and ghosts, and any question is on the table. So ask us anything. And we are streaming on several platforms, including 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. This is the United Paranormal Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. We are also on Roku. We're on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Huge shout out to Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano of The Outer Realm. It's because of them we have this show. If you can check out their show, it airs live each Wednesday and Thursday evening from 9 to 11 p.m. Pacific. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Amelia. We love you so much. And let's get back to our questions and answers. Okay. Ooh, here's one from Janice Connett. Dolly, Russia has a new nuclear-powered missile. It's called Invincible. Sure it is. Will the ETs also monitor these and disarm them?
No, they will not.
They'll monitor it.
They can monitor, and they do, but they will not disarm it. The only reason they have turned off facilities was to make an important message to the idiots who make them, and that is to stop. Stop doing it before you kill yourselves. They were warning them, and turning off, and I'll tell you why turning them off was such a lesson for them, and they should have heeded it. When you turn off a nuclear reactor, if you don't have a way to keep the rod from staying in contact with the energy source, where the fusion takes place, it will overload. It'll get too hot. You have to keep circulating coolant around it, cool water, whatever. And if you don't do that, it will overload and it will go into meltdown. They scared them. They showed them that they were making the point that if you lose the electricity to these things, it's going to melt down. It isn't just nuclear bombs that they're worried about. They're worried about nuclear stations. Let's bring up Fukushima. Fukushima melted down because it got swamped with water. It couldn't use its backup generators to keep the electricity flowing to the rods to keep them cool. What happened? It went into meltdown. What happened after that? It spread everywhere, into the sea, into the areas, all of it. They had a meltdown. What's going to happen to every nuclear reactor on this planet when the grid goes down? Think about it. We are idiots. We are making a way to die. And they wanted them to understand that in full living color, in real time. Have they heeded it? I don't see any evidence of it. They keep turning reactors on. They build new ones. They want you to, go to all this alternate power. I guarantee you, it's not to help us. It's to harm us. Because that, like I said, again, they want you gone. They have a place to go far away from it. They're shielded and barriered, they believe, and the rest of us are going to suffer the consequences of their control over us and their expert ability to create situations where we're all going to die. Think about it, okay? I want you all to wake up. Use science as your foundational knowledge. If you have to understand science through somebody else, you're not doing yourself any favors at all, because they have technology now that's back engineered and amplified by their own ability to think. And you're outside the box. You're clueless. You have no control over what they do. None. I mean, I want you to walk up to a nuclear reactor, knock on the door and say, it's time to turn this off now. It's too dangerous. Go ahead. Give it your best shot. This is how serious this is.
Yeah. I would recommend reading Robert Hastings' book, UFOs and Nukes. I've had many cases I've personally investigated where people were on a nuclear powered ship or at a nuclear missile site or next to a nuclear power plant and had an encounter. They're watching over it very closely. Will they stop it from occurring? No, we have to learn our own lessons. We really, really do.
Right.
They've intervened to a certain extent, but it's clear that this is not the way to go. And the people who are behind it, they know it. I'm working on a new video for this Friday on my YouTube channel, and it's given me shivers down my spine because I've identified a Navy admiral who was deeply involved in the whole nuclear program, was aware of many UFO sightings going on in his presence, never told a soul. He knows, he's in the know. He's on my naughty list. Shame on these folks. They know it's wrong. They know it's dangerous, and we're still doing it anyway.
Yeah. I want you to understand that as it stands now, and I'm going to use a term that a lot of people don't like, but I'm going to use it. We have to stop being sheeple. Okay? Sheeple. We are not sheep. We are independent, thinking, autonomous individuals who, if we were in our right minds and using our abilities, would be in communion with one another, all communicating at the same time, and we would know what they were doing to us, and we would have been able to stop them long ago. But you've been stopped from doing that, and I want y'all to wake up because you still have a little bit of time. Do it. Quit watching all the bad stuff. Lose your fear. Learn to use your abilities. You will be astounded at how well you are good at it. But you have to do it. It's like walking and talking when you're a baby. You're an adult now, but you can still do it. Learn. Okay.
Yep. Okay, we're going to get through all these questions. I promise we'll certainly try. Okay, here is one from Terrence Wells. Question for the lovely Ms. Dolly. What are the ETs hoping to see from us before they fully reveal themselves? Thank you.
Okay, well, they've already
revealed common sense would be nice.
They've revealed themselves. There are lots of people on this planet who could tell you, oh, yeah, they're real. Why don't you believe them? It is real. What they hope that we do with this information is exactly what we've been talking about. Use your abilities. Quit using fluoride right now. Stop bathing in water from the city. It's full of fluoride. Put a filter on your water so you're not bathing in it because it absorbs right through your skin. You need to eat whole foods. Quit eating processed foods. Don't go to the grocery store and buy that stuff. It's all GMO'd now. You need to learn to eat. Figure out what's healthy to eat and what's not healthy to eat. You need to treat your body well. You need to start putting positive things into your body instead of negative. If you have video games, throw them in the trash. They're using you. Just so you know, that you taught AI how to think by every game you've ever played electronically all this time. Every test you took online, everything you answered, every phone conversation you had was teaching this AI that they have on this planet. Stop doing it. Find people like you. Come together in groups where you meditate together, where you learn to garden together, co-op together, take care of one another. These are the things you should be doing, and learn as much as you can about this, all of it. Okay.
Yeah, the ETs have said many times to various contactees that our technological progress has outpaced our moral, ethical, and psychic progress.
Right.
That's where we need to grow up. We just need to plain and simply grow up. Do the right thing. Stop killing each other. Stop polluting the planet. Stop the divisiveness, hatred, unequal distribution of wealth, all the silly things we know are wrong and are retarding our progress.
Yep.
That's what they want to see from us. Yep. Okay. Manny Ray, I would love to know about cat beings and lion beings. You had an encounter with one. It's very cool. We covered it in Symmetry. And I've got a few cases of people who've seen humanoid cats. I mean, there's dog being.
They look like they're bipedal, and they have hands that are clawed. Kind of paw, the shorter fingers, but they're clawed, and They're very intelligent beings, and they're furred. Some of them have short hair, almost no hair, like a furless cat, and then others have a pelt, fur on them. And they are not from Earth. They're not from our solar system. They are not even from the Orion system. They're from somewhere else.
Are they from Lyran? Because sometimes
Lyra.
people call them
Yeah,
Lyra.
Lyra. Well, it's like the Delphi system, way behind the Pleiades. Okay,
All right.
and yeah, and they're only interested in, what's the word I want to use? They are emotional beings, and they back in Egyptian times, they were interested in the emotions of the people and how we treated one another and how we respected one another. They're very respectful beings as well. They're very autonomous. They're very free-willed types, like felines would be here, and they're intelligent as all get out, a lot. So, okay.
So, like cats.
I know felines, yeah. They have a feline culture. Yep.
Okay. Here is a question from Mr. H. Are these entities who exist in a different dimension or frequency tuned into our own spectrum in order to siphon our energy that we exude to our own auric nature of being like vampirism?
No.
This sounds more like a demonic entity who feed off negativity. ETs are not doing that at all.
And if there's a dimensional ET like the craft, they're fifth dimensional. They're non-corporeal beings. That's how they're able to dwell a craft that's made into a biological unit. And they only come here like that. There are a lot of fifth dimensional beings, and there's fourth dimensional that look like light beings to you, like angels, that kind of thing. Some people say, somebody help me. I don't know where they came from. They just were here and then now they're not. That would be a fourth dimensional being, because we all live in the same space. They can see us. We just don't see them because you're not psychic enough to see them. There are beings above the seventh and eighth dimension. I have seen one eighth dimensional being, and they are literally pure light. And it is awesome to be in the presence. It's hard to, listen to them. It's hard to, how do I explain this? It's hard to hear what they're saying because it's so far above my intelligence quotient that, I'm like, wow, and they won't dumb down for you. Okay. So what you get from them is quick, sweet, and you got to figure it out later. You got to sit down and mull over everything that you got from this entity. And they don't appear to us as a rule. The only reason I got to see it is because of Todd, who is a fifth dimensional being, and I somehow got brought into the fifth dimension for a short period of time. We're talking minutes, and I got to see one that way, and pretty cool. After the eighth dimension, I don't know. I have no knowledge. I know they're there. I just have no knowledge of their existence, how they operate, any of that. It's so far beyond us. It's unbelievable.
Okay, here's a question which is, I'm not sure quite how to put this, but do you know the name of the small gray military hierarchical group I encountered and spent time with during the 90s? I know they aren't strictly male or female, but they all seemed pretty male. Well, I'm not sure that I've never heard of grays having a hierarchy. There are some contactees out there saying, the gray queen or the gray king, and I don't have any evidence that
there's no galactic federation. There is no military. My guess is that you've been my lab, and you need to ferret that out. Okay, that you were shown something that is from here and not there, and that you were messed with. Think about it. Go over it in your own mind. I can't speak for what you saw either. You have to do it for yourself. So
yeah, I think that's the best answer. When you're having an encounter, we all have a tendency to look outside for answers because that's our nature. But ultimately, we need to figure everything out for ourselves,
right,
and collect all the knowledge we can. That's definitely a good idea. Asking any questions, but ultimately, only you can answer what happened to you. Okay. Frag Tal, I have a question for you. Dolly, do you have an opinion about what are the intentions or reasons of ETs relating to an insertion of an object behind the head during an abduction? It is all I remember. So he's asking about implants.
Yeah, I have major implants. I have one up in my high sinus on this side, my right side. I can feel it every now and then. It moves. So every now and then I can go clink, clink, clink. Preston heard me do it. I get to it and go tink, tink, tink. You can hear it. I have another one in my hand right here. I don't know if this camera will pick it up, but it's there. It's right. Let me feel for it. It's right here. Right there. Okay. I have another one in my upper thigh. I used to have
a reason for them.
This one is to help me initialize a dodecahedral electromagnetic ball, and it uses my energy to help kick it in. It's like a key. The one in my nose monitors my brain waves. It listens to me. It is able to know if I'm in trouble. Like it knows my blood pressure. It knows my heart rate. It knows physical things about me. The one in my thigh is real interesting. That one's almost an alarm for me. If somebody's coming at me and something's wrong and I'm not picking it up, it will literally start vibrating in my leg, and it'll move around, and it lets me know, hey, pay attention, something's coming at you. What is it? So that's my alarm that they gave me to have on me. So yeah, they can be for a lot of different reasons, but they're mostly just to keep a contact with your physicality, how you're doing,
Yeah, that's what I've heard from contactees who have asked directly. It's to monitor your health. It's to boost your immune system. It's to measure the level of pollution in your body. It's to stabilize your organs and your whole body system. It's usually health related. Some evidence that in some cases it might facilitate communication, but ultimately I don't think it's for tracking.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
They don't have to track you. They don't need to track you with those. You don't need an implant for them to know where you're at. Like I said, your brain emits a frequency. It's your thumbprint of your consciousness, and they can find you anyway like that. They have unbelievable billions of years worth of evolution on us, and they're that good. So
yeah. You guys are doing great with the questions. Thank you. Thank you so much. We've got 48 lined up, Dolly. 48. So if we were to answer all of those, it would be 1 minute each. I don't know if we can get there. Actually,
I want to explain something else. Your frequency, people who understand frequencies and stuff like that, like in this planet, in the third dimension, all over the universe, we can send microwave signals clean across the universe in this, and they'll get there. I mean, how are we still talking to Voyager? It's outside our ecliptic plane of our solar system. Okay, we're still getting it. It takes a few days to get here. It's slow, but light is light. It moves fast. But in the third dimension, we have a clear line or an ecliptic plane where these signals are pretty cohesive and they can move at a certain rate and a volume, sound, to get there. Some things can impede them, like quasars. I'll dare you to send a signal around a quasar. Go ahead. Let me see you do it. But that's not going to happen. But outside of this dimension, things change, and frequencies are not sendable like we send them here. We have technology that works in the third dimension, but in the fourth and fifth and sixth, it's not going to work that way. It all changes. That's why psychic ability is so important. That's why you're not getting out of here until you use it well. And that's because in the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and on up, we're all psychic to the point that we are using that technology of our DNA in our bodies. And then outside of that, our consciousness is pure light. And sending signals is different than it is here. The frequency of sound or the frequency of data changes outside the third dimension. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I could do a whole episode just on implants one of these days.
Yeah.
Because people have noticed implants going off in certain unique situations. One lady, whenever she would get really emotional, she would get the ringing in her ear. She finally figured out this was an implant. Yeah. They were very interested in her emotional state.
Yeah, her blood pressure.
He was watching TV when there was any major world event. His implant would go off. It's like,
like the one in my
his perception of what was going on in the world.
Like yo-yo. Okay, yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand this question from Shar, but I'll ask it. I watch UFO documentaries a lot. I've noticed an inconsistency. They all talk about alien manipulation with humanity, but each show states it occurred in a different geographical area. Why? There's a lot of disinformation, misinformation with this subject. It's very carefully manipulated.
Right. They're manipulating how you think. That's why I keep watching that stuff. Look it up on your own. when I was growing up, ET would not let me watch anything about UFOs. I was not allowed to watch. Like I learned current events from my father, strictly from my father. He didn't. I didn't watch the news or anything. I don't get out of here, you know. And they didn't watch it really either. He just knew what was going on sometimes. I was not allowed to have anything to do with anything that was talked about or known on this planet whatsoever, ever. If I was learning nursing, if I was learning about animals, those kinds of things, I was being educated in a million different things, but not politics, not news, not gossip, not a no. I learned music and all kinds of things, but not that. I was never influenced by it whatsoever. When I came to come out, when they briefed me, and it was a good long brief, I found out that there's a lot going on here that's completely insane to me, that y'all think things that are absolutely untrue. And it's because you have no foundational knowledge anymore. You don't have a way to know whether that's right or wrong. You know, science teaches you more than you understand or really assimilate or know. And then once you understand science, when somebody says, we're going to Mars, and you look at them and you go, huh? Because no, you're not. Are you crazy? You couldn't go to Mars if you wanted to. You died before you got there. There's no way to shield yourself from that kind of radiation. The radiation on Mars is high. It's got full, wide open, no protective barriers whatsoever.
No magnetic fields.
You can't terraform that. It's BS. But I have a foundational knowledge. You should too. And those people on this planet that know this and don't tell you the truth about it, I would worry really a lot about them. Like, who's controlling your tongue? You know, who's making you not tell the truth? That's the
yeah, and I can tell you from having been on some of these UFO documentaries that they took my words and twisted them and made me say, one made me say the exact opposite of what I said. I was furious. I know people who are in this field who will never go on TV again. I'm not happy with the vast majority of documentaries. I liked Alien Abduction Answers because that let the people talk. Susan Alloway knows what I'm talking about. John Yost. He was a guest on our show. Rest in peace. He was a great guy. I like that. There are good documentaries out there, but you have to be really discerning.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are different programs going on in different countries. And by programs, I mean different things our governments are doing to make people perceive things a certain way. They're testing out all their abilities with false flags and MyLabs, and what they can make people believe and how they can manipulate our perception of what's going on. So yeah, just be careful. All right, I'm giving someone cuts here. Thank you, Linda. I'm getting, hold on. Did you just pull that off, Dolly?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm giving Jero cuts for such a generous super chat, and he has a question for you, Dolly. Thank you, Jero. At any rate, thank you. The question is, Dolly, other than human pilots such as yourself, are there other jobs or tasks humans could have when the time comes?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Learn biology, learn nursing, learn to be a doctor, learn to be anything that is helpful to humanity. Okay. They love it when you all do that. They love it because you're going to be put to work right away. There's nothing they won't let you do if you have education to do it. You know, even if it's just holding people's hands and helping them through emotional issues. I mean, you know, when you're with them. I do that a lot when I'm not flying. I go and hold people's hands and give them tours around the ship, and I even let them sit in my seat to show them that this is real, you know, and explain what I can. You can learn how to make food with them. You can learn how to construct things with them. There are people that go off world from this planet and have learned about making zero-point energy machines. They tell you about it. You know, they say, you know, I have dreams about this and I don't know where they come from. Oh yeah. You know, you learn. They'll let you do anything you want to do. Why wouldn't they? If you're an autonomous being and you ask and they're capable of helping you with that, oh heck yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Honestly, they will ask you and they will give you all the opportunities and you can make up your own minds about it.
Now, unlike here, but yeah. You know?
I've decided to try and help people become aware of the UFO presence. That's sort of my mission. I think a lot of contactees get that same thing. There's a lot of talk about, you know, improving the environment and moving off grid. You can, if you look at contactees, It's very interesting. They're very similar in a lot of ways in the things they do and how they're trying to help humanity in some capacity. So I think there's all kinds of jobs they're looking for people to do. And that's just here. But when you're with them, oof, boy, I can only imagine how awesome that must be. All right, here's another question from videos from the underground. And okay, I'm going to try to understand this. In order for humans to evolve, will it be necessary to improve the physical body's DNA? Humans keep making the same mistakes with no progress.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, there's super genetics, right? Well, that's because your great-grandparents had an issue. They went through a trauma and it affected their DNA. It changed it somewhat. That's super genetics. So we have trauma, we have hate, we have fear, we have no ability to learn, people whose IQs have dropped. We have all kinds of things that are in our DNA that we suffer because the generation before us. So you know how there's a saying, all parents want better for their children than they had for themselves. Do for yourself first, heal yourself first, so that your children are the recipients of that healing. Everybody needs to think about this. And it might take 3 or 4 generations through your family lines to completely eradicate things like a need for fear, a need for horror, a need for, murder and beast, what's the word I'm looking for? Warring and stuff like that. Okay. That's all written in our DNAs. We have people who are Valkyries walking around because for generations before you, your DNA has been remapped and rewritten with that stuff. Lose it, heal yourself from it. So the generations past you, and if you already have children, you heal yourself, they watch you doing it and they do it too. Okay. That's how we do it. And it's generational. And remember, your lifetime is not the only lifetime you're going to live. So while you're here, do what you can while you can, learn all that is learnable, know all that is knowable, and then proceed. That's all you can do. You're not going to be fixed overnight, but the first step forward is the best one. Keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think humanity is an experiment or anything like that.
No.
ETs are following our genetics. They're doing their best to uphold them, to even perhaps upgrade it. I'm not sure if that would be the best word for it, but to pull out the best of what humanity has.
They breed for traits, and they do it naturally. It is not in a petri dish. Okay.
Yeah.
All the babies that are born from us to them are real, and they're no petri dishes at all. Okay. It's all natural. Okay.
We still have 25 minutes, but 50 questions.
Okay.
Okay. CT Guitar Guy 85. My understanding was that these craft are tapping into the energy in the vacuum, 0-point energy, essentially limitless energy. Why do they need batteries?
Because once you leave where the energy is, you have to take energy with you. That's how it works. ETs don't use cadmium, just so you know. Okay, they don't use anything that we use in a battery. They have different kinds of batteries than we do. If you lift off our planet and go out into space, way beyond us, beyond our sun, beyond our solar system, you have to be able to have energy. And the sun is not 0-point energy. It can shoot energy at you, but it comes in the form of types of radiation like gamma, and you don't want that. Electricity is a very specific point of energy. And to fly these craft, they have to be generated with batteries if they're not using nuclear. And their nuclear is not like ours, because what they do burns completely. There's no residual effect. There's no garbage from it. Nothing stays irradiated. It turns into another element. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because when you look at the contactee accounts, they often describe the same sort of things. A central column. The engine room is described very much the same way. There's not a whole lot of gizmos and stuff like that.
I want to tell you something. Where do you think our 0-point energy comes from? It comes from the center of our planet. We have a nucleus. We have an electromagnetic field. It irradiates, it magnifies out, and that's where our energy is coming from, the core of our planet. And you're picking it up and using it. And we've developed the technology to gather that energy in the air. Once you leave a planet's core and you go out its magnetosphere, what are you going to get energy from? The sun is a giant core that is unbelievable, told times too much energy for us. It would burn us up. So they have to have a way to have energy outside. And they really don't like to stay in our solar system outside a magnetosphere. They like get out of it and go to theirs rapidly, like minutes. It takes them minutes to go from this part of the galaxy to the other. That's how fast they move. And it's not the speed, it's that they're opening a gate, a dimensional gate between here and there. They know the frequency here, they know the frequency there. They light gate, they connect with light. And it's like folding space. Einstein kind of almost had it, but not quite. And they open the door between those two gates, and it's instantaneous transfer.
Very cool.
So,
All right.
okay.
We're going to try and get through these as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot question. We've heard when we die, we go to the light. Yes. I'm wondering if you are a starseed or from another planet, do you go to your light planet? Going home is different for everyone.
No,
Yeah,
you can go anywhere.
it is different for everyone. It depends on what level of understanding you're at, what level of knowledge. Because some people might, when they die, remain earthbound because they are, in essence, earthbound, stuck to ideas that are not okay.
Yeah, but there are other planets in our universe that are like us that you can go to. Instead of coming here, you go there. Okay, it's the level. You're right about the level. But when we all leave here, we go to source. We're back in the swim with everybody. Okay, and then you go back over your life and you talk about what you learned, what you didn't learn, what you need to learn. And sometimes you're pinned here because you're not going to leave this one until you finish that particular lesson. That's what karma is. You keep coming for the same thing over and over and over again until you realize it, learn it, and move on from that. And then you go to another classroom over here. We could easily go to where the tall grays live. They're almost on the same level with us, except they're highly evolved. But you could be, because you're in source, you know more than you think you know, okay? And it's the lessons that you learn somewhere else. So you could be re-evolved into a higher understanding or higher knowledge because you're already at that level in source anyway. But it's the lessons that are important, the way for you to employ what those lessons are. And I'm going to try to explain it to you.
Quickly, Dolly.
I'm very lucky. I know how to operate a craft. Okay. I'm psychic enough and I've learned all of that. And so I'm not on the same level with everybody here anymore. I'm up there. Okay. So I learned it from here. Whoa, that's a big one. Okay. You can too. So when I pass from here, I may decide to go ahead and come back on homeworld there. Okay. Which is Indioma, just so you know, and live there and go from there. It's what you learn here that gets you to those points. And there's lots that you can learn here. There isn't anything that you couldn't learn in this lifetime on this planet, given the opportunity, in other words. It's not all IQ. It's what you were born to do. It's in your DNA. It's written for you every single life, what you're going to experience and what you're going to do. That's how serious this is. So think about it. You could be anything you want to be, really, at any time.
This is why I encourage anyone to learn astral projection, because you can get a real firsthand look at where you will go when you pass on, and you can watch other people doing it too.
Right.
So it's a really firsthand way to access this knowledge.
Yep.
Okay, I'm giving Stephen a jump ahead. Thanks for the super chat, Stephen. And he says, in the small chance that ET can see this, I humbly ask for a healing. I'm from Charleville, County Cork, Ireland. Oh, Stephen, sending you healing energy for real. All of us here, I'm sure, are hoping that you find healing. Healing can come from many different sources. Ultimately, it's from you. ETs can help with that, but ultimately, they're only allowing you to heal yourself. And healing can also come from many different sources.
You can send yourself,
from music, from nature, from laughter, from all kinds of sources. Astral projection can lead to a healing. But yeah, ETs do heal people. I've written books about this. So I hope and pray that you get a healing. And everyone here, I'm sure, is wishing you the very best.
Absolutely.
Because it's not easy being here on Earth. Almost everyone here on Earth deals with health issues at some point. So, sending you healing energy. God bless you. Thank you. All right. Moving to our next question from Moonfire. Question for Dolly. How did the aliens come into your house and pass through solid objects? I'd like to know how this one alien flipped backwards into a ball and disappeared in a flash. Something to see, Moonfire.
And then, they have an energy stream. It's an interdimensional stream. It's like a ribbon. Sometimes it comes down in a blue light. It looks like a round glass blue light that comes down. If they're real close to you, you'll see it like that. Most of the time, it's like an energy ribbon, and they're hanging on to it. And when you're touching the ribbon or you're in that energy field, you're extra dimensional. In other words, you're not completely in the third dimension. You're flipping out into the fourth. It takes you out of here. You lose space time in that dimensional shifting, and it only lasts for a certain amount of time. There's only enough time for you to get up or down, and when they do that, they're just jumping back into the ribbon. You just can't see it. So okay.
All right, Stephen, the prayers are coming in for you. So that's awesome to see. ETs are able to move through walls in the same way that someone who's very psychically advanced here on Earth can do as well. This is something we have the ability to do: levitation, teleportation, all of this.
Right.
So they have technology that allows them to do it, but they can do this psychically as well. Would that be correct, Ollie?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Joe Sanchez. Question. Preston and Dolly, are you familiar with the case of the Marian apparitions that took place in Portugal in 1917? I am. If so, what do you think about it? Thank you. The Fatima incident. It's very famous. One of the most widely viewed incidents like this. There are some researchers who've really looked into this and say that, this could very well have been ET, UFO related, because people do describe seeing what looks like a metallic craft. There's little things coming down that sort of match with angel hair. But there is the whole, of course, religious story behind these three children who said that they received a message with hidden prophecies, some of which have allegedly come true. I think it's a very interesting incident. I think it really did happen. I am not prepared to say it was a religious miracle or ET because I wasn't there and I don't have the firsthand information to say it. But I think it would be foolhardy to say that this didn't happen because it was very widely viewed. In fact, our photographs, I would lean towards this probably being, I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about it. So I really don't know, but wouldn't surprise me if this was ET and that it was sort of a message given in a religious paradigm for people to understand it. I'm not sure what you would think of that, Dolly, if they do that sort of thing, but I honestly don't know. It could have been an angelic.
Right. You can get the answer yourself. You need to ask the universe for the answer to that one. Develop your abilities. You'll get an answer. You'll be told the truth.
All right. Why do they pick us? Why, John Schaefer's asks, do the ETs pick us? Why certain people? Why not others?
I don't know. Why did you pick your children? We're related to them. It is part of life in this universe. This is who we are. You're not the only ones. Don't concentrically think you're the center of everything and that you're special. You're not. We're all here to help one another from one end of this universe to the other. You're not that special, but you are special because we all help one another. If they're within 2 degrees of separation of us, they're going to help you, or they're going to be here and worry about us. They're within 2 degrees of separation from us. I love those terms, by the way. You're supposed to help everybody within 2 degrees of separation from you. If your neighbor's starving, take food over there and try to figure out how to help them eat every day. This is how we're supposed to treat one another. So ask yourself, are they doing their due diligence for us? Yes. Are we doing our due diligence toward them? I hope so. Okay.
Okay. Now we're going back to the beginning of the show when Peaks says, do ETs have heaven or a mall / hell? I did mean mall, not hell. And then West Esker is asking, can you explain more about the Moloch structures you were alluding to? Yeah, I went out of body, and often when you go out of body, you explore the physical plane, but ultimately you get pulled to the other side, which is the natural environment where you're drawn to, and that's where all the exciting stuff is. And you go to the heavenly realms most often because that's where it's so beautiful, so much fun, so many things to explore. But I became curious about the lower realms and the possible existence of hell, because I've heard of other out-of-body folks going there, people like Marilyn Hughes, who was a previous guest on the Light Gate, and others. So I became curious, and I started going to what we would call the lower realms, and it can get real low, where there are demonic beings who are snarling and not okay and will attack you. And there are people who are lost in delusion, in pain, in despair, in hunger, in lust, and just not okay. But there's levels and levels of, depending on where you go, when depends on your awareness and your level of knowledge. Now, a lot of people are going to these places which are very urban, very much like Earth, on a bad day, where there's are lots of shadows, lots of darkness, lots of arguing, crowds. And there's a level above that where people are gathering in these malls or hotel. You know, sometimes they're really nice hotels, like the Bellagio or something. There's marble floors and there's paintings, there's fountains and plants, and it's cool. That's where I found my dad after years of looking for him. But a lot of people are in these slightly lower areas, which remind me so much of malls, because people are just collecting. You know, there's benches and there's tables and there's big rooms, and they're all talking, and they're not all aware that they're dead, but most are.
Yeah.
I went around asking them, I'm like, are you dead? Oh yeah, of course, we all are. I asked about COVID, and they gave me this look like, yes, it's bad. Look around you. So yeah, we all go to various levels when we die, and some of it reminds me so much of a mall. I'm going to write about this in my book and really go into it in more detail.
You should.
But I eventually stopped going there because it's not as fun. So that would be how I would explain it. Okay. Thank you, Wes Decker. I enjoyed that. I really want to talk more about that, but we've got so many questions here, and we've only got like 10 minutes left. All right, Woo Riders, Team Woo. Preston, what is your main motivation that keeps you doing research after all of these years? Thanks. I find it fun. I find it interesting. I feel like these subjects are super important. And I had a real hard time when I found out UFOs were real. And my heart went out to all these people who are having these experiences and have no recourse. That's a major motivation. Another is I'm pissed off at our own governments for taking my money and using it to call UFO witnesses idiots and fools and drug users and mentally ill. That's another motivation. Another motivation is when I started having out-of-body experiences, it changed my life so much for the better that I just can't sit here and not tell people about it and point the way towards having that experience. So yeah, I've got many motivations for doing it. And those are the main ones. Thanks, Will. I appreciate that. You want to add anything, Dolly? I know that was a question for me, but.
No, you did well. That's awesomeness.
Okay. Here is a question from Octopus with no friends yet. Our choices for good or bad change our very DNA, which is crystalline. Our vibrations are going to charge those DNA crystals, no? Therefore, our mindful love or ignorant hate are passed down. I think you talked a little bit about this, how DNA actually is altered by our experiences. Is that true?
Yes, but we're mostly minerals, okay? Water and minerals. We're not crystalline. Water has the ability to crystallize as it gets ice cold, and you see that it crystallizes out because of the structure, it's the components of its molecules. Okay, crystals are crystals because their molecules line up, they block up, and they do solid really, really well. It has nothing. Our DNA is not crystallized at all. It is actually alive. It's biologic, and it's made from different types of amino acids and things like that, the molecules. And our DNA has branches or alleles, between them, and we have a code. And each one of those codes from a different part of the allele, in the way that it's dialed up, releases DNA according to what that particular code is. If you strung our DNA, it'll go around the world a couple of times. That's how big it is. If you understood how much DNA you're actually operating with, you would freak out, because it's not just us. We have the DNA of everything, all living organisms, everything throughout the universe is contained in our DNA. You have the DNA of every T there is, as well as your own, every animal on this planet. You have the same DNA as bananas, okay? Bonobos, grass, birds, you name it, feathers, all of it. We all have this DNA. It just dials out differently. It is not crystalline. It is amino acids that come together and build, AGCT. Look that up. I want you to look that up. I'm not going to tell you what it means. You look it up and understand what your DNA is actually composed of. And then start looking for microscopic views of DNA and what it's actually going on, and you will be shocked. Okay, because there are electron scanning microscopes that can see DNA for what it really is and how it builds and works in our bodies and how it knows what to do. It's very, very complicated. Crystals are on this earth, and they're made from minerals that come together in a block sort of way. Water can crystallize. You can see it forming little pretty patterns and stuff like that. But there are minerals that'll crystallize together. It's a process where something becomes solid. And our DNA is not solid. It is liquid, and it's moving constantly all the time. That's why we're mostly water. We're comprised of water molecules. So go from there.
That reminds me of a line from Star Trek. You ugly bags of mostly water. Sorry.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that. Okay, Barry Hamper. Can Dolly introduce me to the ETs?
I would love to. I want you to practice being psychic and contact me on Messenger, and let's see how psychic you can actually operate at, and then I will help you make a contact. But you better be good at it. That's what I'm telling you. You got to be good. I got to be able to hear you. I can't hear everybody on this planet. I can, like, if I'm in your vicinity, I can pretty much hear you thinking. But from across the city or across the planet, that's a little bit more difficult because we're closed off orifices. We're not operating.
That brings to the next question. Fun Talks TV. Is telepathy something we have to learn, or is it natural?
It is natural.
I receive a message, will I know?
Oh, yeah.
It is natural, but you can also learn it. And
well, you learn to use it. There's a difference. Like, you're born with the ability to walk. Do you walk when you're born? No, you have to learn to use it. Understand the correlation there? The symmetry of that is that I have this pineal gland in my head. It's part of my endocrine system, and it can perceive light and dark. It can transmit. It can receive signals as well, electric signals. It can, which is light. Okay, just so you know. Am I using it? Probably not, because you've been using fluoride most of your life, and it's causing it not to operate properly. That's why people have sleep problems and all kinds of other issues, mental disorders. If you get locked in your brain because you can't hear your higher consciousness, it drives you a little crazy. If you want to know what serious mental illness is, you're talking about it right now, because we've lost the ability to communicate our physical mind to our higher mind, to who we really are, your consciousness, which is embedded in your heart, by the way. Yeah. So learn to use it. Clean. And the only way you're going to unclog that gland is to stop using fluoride. Drink real, fresh, clean, polarized water, energetically polarized water. Eat whole foods, good, fresh meat, not processed meat. You need to decontaminate your body, because that's causing this a problem, a huge problem. And they've known it for hundreds of years, and you need to get rid of it. Become clean.
Well, telepathy, I mean, here's another analogy. There are people who do bodybuilding and are able to lift really heavy weights through practice and effort. And if you do that with telepathy, you increase your abilities.
Now, does everything
anyone can do.
Right.
And yes, you will get the message. There's account after account after account of people who got a telepathic message, a premonition, and it saved their lives.
Right.
It does.
We all are operating telepathically. You just don't realize you're doing it. You broadcast every day of your life. You're trying to, okay? Whether anybody hears it or not is another thing, or whether you hear it is another thing. There are people who have moments of light hit them, like you'll be thinking of somebody you really dearly love, and poof, out of nowhere, haven't talked to you in a year, they call you right at that moment. That's telepathy operating in you. Everybody has it. You just have to clean up and learn how to use it.
We're not going to get to all the questions, guys. We've got like 5 minutes, so I'm going to try and brush through some of these real quick with a sort of yes or no way.
Okay.
Question from Olivia. Dolly, I remember you saying that craft will land and advise to board. Is this still going to take place? Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, as soon as the poles change and they can come back, you bet you.
Here's another question from Videos from the Underground. Some musicians are Pied Pipers and lead people down negative paths. Others inspire and uplift. Are some musicians being used by manipulative entities? I would say that, yes, that does happen, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily true.
A musician has a choice over what he plays, sings, or writes. Okay? And there are people who do very negative songwriting and negative sounds, and they do it deliberately. Nobody told them to do it. They just do it themselves. Everybody's autonomous.
The negative entities are out there trying to push people onto the wrong path. This does happen.
Yeah. But
Okay.
whether you do it or not. Okay.
Kason Lee. Hi, Preston and Dolly. Is the Eisenhower Gray story true? What do you think? Yes, there was a meeting. No, there was no deal struck. No technology traded. It was just advice against the use of nuclear power. And would you please disclose? And we said, no, we're still going to use nuclear power. And no, we're not disclosing. It
wasn't exactly. Yeah. He pretty much said that it's a deterrent. Okay. That's his whole sentence to ET was literally, and I've been told this point blank, his answer to them was, it's a deterrent and I have no right to order anybody to do anything. He was only a president and he didn't have that kind of executive power. And it would be that they would have to talk about it and this, which ET understood, and they understood that we needed to have meetings about it worldwide and all, but he was encouraged to do so. What he did with that from that moment on and how everybody responded to it is obvious, because we still have nuclear power and we're still hurting one another. There's your answer.
Right. E.A. Quetting. Preston, if I think I've been abducted, how should I look for someone to do hypnosis on me? First, I would write everything down. Then I would put that in a drawer, meditate, go back to it and see if I can add details. Do that 3 or 4 times. Do a lot of meditating. When you go to bed at night, ask for dream work on it. Read, look, do it yourself to the extent that you can. Hypnosis is really a last resort, but you can certainly contact MUFON and find a suitable hypnotherapist.
Somebody who's not going to lead you into a memory you don't have. You need to have somebody help you become comfortable with your own thoughts and everything and let you bring it out, not them. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Evan B., can you tell us about OBE and the methods you use? Send me an email. I'll give you my email right now, and I will tell you exactly how to do it. I put a little guide together. We're actually out of time, so that's going to have to be our last question, guys. I love you so much. I'm so sorry we couldn't get to all the questions, but I can absolutely send anyone here who wants to learn how to do OBE a little guide and work with you personally. But right now, I just want to thank you guys for joining us on another episode of The Lightgate. Namaste. Namaste. What else can I say? We love you. Thank you so much for your very generous donations. Thank you, Louise. You guys are so wonderful. We love all of you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jero, for the very generous donation. And Linda Catlett. My gosh, Stephen, hoping for a quick, beautiful healing from you.
We'll take you under advisement tonight and send you what I got.
Yeah.
I've seen your picture. I've seen your name. And I'm tagging you now, and I'll do what I can, okay?
Yes. And Wes Decker, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are so amazing. This was such a wonderful show. We're definitely going to have to do it again. The 2 hours went so fast. So thank you. Thank you for being here for us and with us. And I had a great time. All right, Dolly, I guess it's time to take us out, even though I really don't want to go. I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, I know. Thank you all for coming tonight, and I hope we helped you with some answers that you can look up and research for yourself and do some understanding for yourself. And like I said, don't believe anything I tell you. Research it out, figure it out, and giving you some resources. You know where to go look. If you haven't, talk to us online, and we will come back to you and help you any way we can. The Lightgate has come to you tonight via our beautiful network. It is the United Public Radio Network coming from New Orleans. It is at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We have been on Roku, Facebook, and YouTube. I want you all to have a lovely, wonderful week. Please pay attention to what's happening. We have had a couple of CMEs. They could be something you need to pay attention to, and there may be more this week because of the size of the sunspots. So pay attention. Y'all be safe. Y'all consider life. Be in joy. We love you. Namaste.
Thanks, guys.